Hello, everyone. Welcome to session 8 of PMI PMP exam question answers. We will be focusing on Agile section. So same rules. I will be showing you a question. We'll give you around 60 seconds. You need to post your answer in the chat window, and then we will be discussing, right? So let me just share my screen, and then we will start. All right. I hope you could see the screen. Is it visible to all of you? So question
Yes.
number 71, your time starts now. Please read it and then put your answer in the chat window. Question number 71. All right, so I can see D, who is the culprit. Amandeep is the culprit. So she started D, so everyone D. Why option D? Anyone, please? Amandeep?
Yes. Uh-huh. So the I used it. So I kind of eliminated some of the options and then best suited the D. So that's why I selected D. The first one is avoid use of specific agile terminologies. So the wording seems too harsh, and persuade again. These two modify the terms so people would understand, agree to the activities, if not the agile language. So that is not what we read in the agile concept. So I guess educating organizational leaders how on the agile terminologies suits the best solution or approach. So that's why I selected D here.
All right. Heather?
I also chose D, but I chose D because I read in one of the resources about how agile leaders are supposed to educate on agile methods. So I assumed that education was part of the model.
All right. Anybody else? I can see option A as well. Option B as well. So, Mark, you have chosen option B. Why?
Probably because it was wrong. I was going between B and D. And the reason that I took B was because it talked about the whole organization and not just the leaders. And I thought if we have a culture issue, we needed to reach everyone. But after listening to the reasoning on D, I might be changing kind of my thoughts towards D. But I that's the reason that I chose B.
Okay, my question is, what's the point of implementing Agile? Why are you doing that? What you want to do? You want to use terminologies or you want to get things done? What's the idea?
Yeah, I think you want to be practical. You want to get things done quickly.
You want to get things done. And if you look at the question, it says there is a concern that agile terms and language do not fit the organizational culture. You understand?
Yes.
So let's read the explanation and then we'll review it again. All right, so I'm emphasizing again and again in almost every session that Agile is all about flexibility, right? It's all about flexibility, being flexible, being accommodating. So if terminologies are not aligned with the organizational culture, we cannot enforce them, right? We should try to find a way like how we can do that. And the purpose is not terminologies here. Purpose is getting things done. If you are able to get things done by modifying the terminologies a little bit, go with that option, right? So correct option is option C. All other options are irrelevant. If you have another perspective you can present, then we'll move to question number 72. All right, next question, please. All right, so I can see option C, D, C, Chinese. Why option D? You're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. We talked about the team members being less experienced, and I just expert judgment being mandatory. We ensure that the correct decisions are taken while maintaining autonomy of the team also to make decisions. That's why I chose D.
All right. Okay. Rafe, you have chosen option A. Why?
So something I felt was important in the question is that the team was composed primarily of less experienced members. So I feel like we need to guide them because they don't have as much experience. So option A, directing may be necessary until the team gains the necessary skills. It's kind of like guiding the team until they're a bit more experienced. So that's why I chose A.
Right. Shankar, you have chosen option A. Why?
Yes. Partly Rafi said. Also, there is like they are like transition to agile principles, so they are not like well experienced with agile principles. So the as a project manager, it's his duty to direct them, and until they gain necessary skills. So I believe A is the correct answer.
All right. India, you have chosen option A. Why?
Well, at first I chose option D, but then I think the wording is a bit strong. That is mandatory. So A is a better alternative to
All right,
D.
let's read the explanation. And then if you have any comments, we can take that. Please read the explanation. All right, so balancing agile principle with practical needs to get things done is the key. And we have studied this when we talk about 5 different development stages in team development model. Remember Bruce Tuckman team development model? We talked about during formation, we use directive leadership style, right? So
Yes.
temporary directing is mandatory until team is enough to self-organize. Next question, please. All right, so I don't see any answer. B. Okay. So India, why B?
Because the problem is that they're used to structured roles, and answer B explains that there will be challenges to adapt to the lack of predefined roles.
Okay.
So that was my guess.
Rafi, you have chosen option C.
To be honest, I wasn't really sure which one. I'm not really familiar with Scrumban, so I kind
Same.
of went with my gut.
Okay. Sudhir, you have chosen option C.
Yes, Ammar. I think when you are used to the Scrum way of iterations and the sprint, that fixed timeline, so immediately shifting to the Scrumban gives a little confusion over when to plan and review the work. That could little disrupt the team's workflow. That's what my thought process is.
All right, so I was expecting like most of you would not be able to answer this question correctly because Scrumban is a new terminology which I'm sure you haven't heard about. So Scrumban is combination of Scrum and Kanban, right? So go to PMI Agile Guide, read a little bit about it. There's a just small paragraph about it, right? So, but the strategy that India has used, she found the answer from the question without knowing the concept of Scrumban. So sometime if you don't know the terminology, if you look at the question, you'll find the answer. So as she mentioned, the problem is with the roles and responsibilities. It's written, the team is accustomed to the structure, roles, and ceremonies of Scrum. And you can see similar information is option B. And all other options are irrelevant. So first is the team struggles with the concept of WIP. There is no such information in the question. Option C, the absence of prescribed sprints, no. It is Scrum ban means sprints should be part of it. That's why it is Scrum. You understand? So option C is eliminated. The team faces difficulties in determining the appropriate. There is nothing such information in the question. So reading the question correctly could solve half of the problem. So whenever you're clueless, read the question carefully. You'll find the answer in the question. So Scrum ban is combination of Scrum and Kanban. It has sprints, right? And it, replan at predefined triggers. The only challenge is in Scrum ban, there are no fixed roles and responsibilities. So that's the biggest challenge for the team. So let's read the explanation, then we'll move to next question. All right, next question. All right, so this time culprit is try. Try, go ahead. Why you have chosen option B?
I picked B because it talks about them being remote, and the others just didn't really fit and make sense to me on that it would present an issue. So B lines up with the question, and being that I'm not super familiar with all the ins and outs of Kanban, that's why I picked B.
All right. Anybody else with a different perspective? Amandeep, you have chosen option B. Why?
Yeah, I like question said that the teams are at different locations, and Kanban is more like for co-location teams. It can be valid for remote, but like in this I found like the teams are at different, like cross-functional teams, at different locations, and B is the only one talking about different locations. So that's why I thought B would be the right answer.
All right. Aksa, you have chosen option B. Why? All right. So if you look at the question says that team is using a digital tool. So team is remote team and they are using digital tool and they are moving from digital tool to Kanban. So it means it's not a digital Kanban. It's a physical Kanban. First, you need this clarity. So option number 1, the team members are resistant to change. There is no such information in the question. So it can be eliminated. Option D, continuous delivery of features necessitates a more dynamic and automated tool than Kanban. Kanban is itself automated and dynamic, right? Kanban is dynamic tool, like it's a workflow management system. So option D can be eliminated through this. Option C and D. See, the rapidly changing requirements might lead to frequent updates on the Kanban board. So that's why we have Kanban. Kanban is you pick a user story, pull it, and it's a pull-based system. So rapid changes would not affect Kanban at all. Rapid changes may impact Scrum board, which is sprint-based, right? So it's not easy to change a sprint. So Kanban is more flexible. Kanban is continuous. Kanban is a flow-based agile. If you look at option B, it says Kanban board being a low-tech means it's not tech-driven. There is no sophisticated technology involved. It's a simple solution, 3 columns. To do, in progress, and done. And it's a high-touch technology, means physical involvement is involved here. You move the card physically from one column to another. So if team is remote and you are implementing a physical Kanban, which is low-tech, high-touch technology, may not effectively support remote team members. So option B is correct answer. If you have any other perspective, please explain and also read the explanation. All right, next question. Don't worry if you're not getting any question right, okay? This is just practice. It's better to fail here than in the real exam. Question 75. So I can see A, C, D. Anyone with B? Okay, I'm with B. Right. So who would like to explain why A? Amandeep?
So in this question, it's agile because it's web application that we are building, and it's a time and material contract, which I feel like time and cost is constant, and normally the statement of work in such cases is like the scope is not fixed. So from that perspective, I chose A because it says the statement of work for the web application is not readily available.
So Amandeep, it says, what is the potential impact? It doesn't say what is the potential cause. So when we talked about these contract types, I told you we chose time and material when we don't have readily available statement of work. So it's a cause, not an impact. You understand?
Okay.
So option A is eliminated. We need to understand once you chose time and material contract, what could be the potential impact? What you are saying is that is a cause of choosing time and material contract. So if readily available statement of work is not there, then what you do, you go for time and material contract. That's the cause, that's the reason, that's not an impact. So option A is eliminated that way. So it becomes difficult for the client to track the cost of the material used due to the software company's independent buying. So there is no such information. There is an independent buying, right? During these contract, all the records should be presented to the buyer, right? So that's not the case. Option C, the client incurs unwarranted risk as they must pay for all the time and material used. So that's the first condition. Like time and material is what? Buyer would be paying for the actual time and actual material use. That's the simple definition of time and material contract. And D, this contract type is not suitable for the well-defined work. No, for example, if scope of work is well-defined, right? So you can pay for, let's suppose you measure this activity would take 10 hours and you say, okay, per hour, I will be paying $50. So there is nothing wrong in it. So total, you will be paying $500. So option C is correct answer. Let's read the explanation. Also, this is one of the fundamental problems with time and material contract. And we handle this problem by other means of contract clauses. Some of them we discussed in the session as well. Let's move to question number 76. All right, Sudhir, you have chosen option B. Why? You're on mute, Sudhir.
I chose option B because if it is a fixed project, it will be a less burden on the customer. Even getting is new ideas and innovations also, like changes can be dynamic, but the budget is constant. From the customer perspective, it's good for the customer. So that's
Sudhir, if budget is the concern, then customer should sign a simple fixed price contract, no? If budget is the main concern, then why dynamic and stuff like that? Just sign a simple fixed price contract.
Here, the dynamic is in the scope, but the budget is in a fixed way. So scope can be always, if he wants more changes also from the customer, he can have it incorporated, but within the fixed budget.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if the main concern is budget, then just sign a fixed price contract. So it means that's not the main concern here. Okay. Main concern is something else. So the option that you have chosen is not correct. All right. I can see, Anton, you have chosen option C. Why?
Yes, I think that's the incentive for customer and supplier to really share the financial risk. Like if customer is running out of budget, so will the supplier. So, and that will really make them both be concerned about it and spend it appropriately.
But how this fixed price contract can share the financial risk? It is fixed, right? At the end of the day, $100,000 would be paid because it's a fixed price contract. So how it is sharing the financial burden?
In case they run out of this budget.
Why?
Well, because they can underestimate it, obviously.
So that is applicable to all sort of contracts. It could happen in fixed price, cost reimbursable, time and material. So this is not specific to this type of contract. This is generic. They can run out of business budget in any type of contract due to miscalculation or misinterpretation. So that's not the reason. All right. So if we see, it says the supplier offers a dynamic scope option. So supplier is offering an option to customer, like you can change scope for a software development project. Dynamic means you can change scope with a fixed budget. What is the purpose of this approach? So if this is being offered, it means it allows customer to stay within the fixed budget while they can change the budget, change the scope. How they do that? For example, if buyer or customer adds something to the scope, then they have to remove something to balance it out. So it gives an opportunity to the buyer to adjust the scope if needed. So option D is correct. To allow the customer to adjust project features to fit their capacity and leverage innovation opportunities. Right? So let's read the explanation. All right. So I hope it is clear. Let's move to question number 77. All right, Fahad, you have chosen option B and D. Why?
Because the PV was 30, but my earned value is 25. So if I calculate the CPI, it gives me something around 83%. So the team is working at only an 83% of the planned rate, and they're behind by 17% on the schedule.
So you calculated CPI, right?
Yes.
CPI or SPI?
Should have been SPI, sorry. SPI.
SPI, okay. So I can see Troy has mentioned A and E. Why Troy?
Because on this one, some of the other ones just don't make sense as far as there's no dollar value to it. There's no cost mentioned to it. And if they're going through and doing 30 story points, but in an iteration, they only get 25. Well, then the 25 that they don't do moves to the next iteration. So it kind of blocks out the, those parameters, if you will.
All right. Anyone who agrees or disagrees with Troy, or who wants to present their point of view? Just try. Okay, I can see Mark. Mark, you have chosen B and D. Why?
Well, I feel pretty confident that both of those are correct because you're measuring the work that's done, and I didn't see anything in there that was really about cost. So I think C is not correct because it talks about 83 cents on the dollar, but we're talking about storylines. So that really wasn't correct.
All right.
And I didn't really have a reason why I didn't choose E, but I just thought B and D were correct.
So the reason for not choosing E, you have already mentioned, because there is nothing relevant to cost mentioned here, okay?
Okay.
So that's why it's wrong for EVM without tracking actual cost. No, without tracking actual cost, you can still measure the schedule performance. Actual cost is needed for cost performance, you understand? So for example, if you don't have actual cost, still you can measure half of the progress, that is schedule variance or SPI. So option E is not correct here, right? Then you can see option C, this means a result of only 83 cents on the dollar. Again, there is no information about the cost here, so this can also be eliminated. E and C are eliminated. Option A, earned value management cannot be translated into Agile. That's wrong. Earned value management can be used in Agile, and we use story points for that. So if we look at it, correct answers are the team is working at only 83% of rate plan. You can just divide 25 by 30, that is the 83%. And the team is behind schedule by 70%. So B and D are correct answer. So you can see, I can see Rafi has just changed her answer. So she has just lost 1 mark. Please read the explanation and then we'll move to the next question. Rafi, go ahead.
So on this question, it said choose all that apply, but on the exam, would it say something like choose 2 options, choose 3, or like would we have, if we need to pick more than one, would we know how many we need to pick?
No, it would say choose all applicable.
Okay.
So they are slightly challenging, such questions, when you need to choose. Sometimes you need to choose 2, sometimes 3. So it is challenging. But good news is that the number of such questions would be like 5 or 6 maximum, because I have told you 90% of the question in the exam would be MCQs in which you have to choose one option, okay? Right, next question, please. All right, so I can see option A and option C. So anyone who would like to explain, India, why you have chosen option A?
I think it's a benefit to the project manager as opposed to like the benefit to the customer. So like for the project manager, it's well the customer they need to compensate only for what has been developed. They don't need to pay for the rest, which is less expensive for them. Yeah.
Okay, so it's beneficial for the customer to cancel the project if it is no more needed. So in that sense, customer has not to pay extra cost for the work which is not done. Okay.
Yeah, well, I thought they still keep some of the work, but they cancel a piece of it.
So you're saying that whatever work is completed, customer would be paying for that plus a pre-decided profit as compensation. Okay. The
Yeah.
only problem with this option is that with the pre-decided profit, right? So if you're canceling a project, that's not a profit. We don't call it a profit. Profit is something else. That we call a compensation or a fee. For example, cancellation fee or stuff like that. That is not a profit. The only problem is that the idea or concept is correct, but we don't call that profit. Okay, so I can see option D, Chenamis. You have chosen option D. Why?
Okay. So I know that this type of contract offers a clause, offers the customer the opportunity to buy the remainder of the project for a cancellation fee if they choose to pull out.
So what is meant by, customer the chance to buy the remainder of the project for a cancellation fee? What does it mean? What is meant by buy the remainder of the project?
So buy the remainder of the work not completed.
So what does it mean? How can customer buy something which is not completed?
You can help with that.
Okay, Mark, do you want to say something?
Well, I think you're essentially buying it for a cancellation fee instead of having to pay the entire contract. So basically you're buying your way out of it. It's a little confusing way to write it, but you're buying your freedom from the contract with just a smaller fee.
Yeah. So the option C that you have chosen, the early cancellation option, offers the customer to pay for the completed and formally accepted work only. So it means there is no extra fee customer is paying. Customer is only paying for the completed work. So what is the incentive for the vendor here? So incentive needs to be compensated if you are early canceling the project. So there should be some compensation for the vendor. Okay. So option C is incorrect. That's not a fair option. It means you can just cancel without compensating the seller. So option D, if we look at this, the early cancellation options offers the customer the chance to buy the remainder of the product for a cancellation fee. So customer would be paying for the work done, plus customer would be paying a cancellation fee for whatever work which is in progress or whatever work which is remaining to compensate the vendor. Right? So option D is correct here. All other options are incorrect. So if you look at option A, the customer is obligated to pay for completed work, and I have talked about it. Option B, the customer is obligated to pay for the entire project scope. It is self-contradictory. It is fixed price contract. It is not early cancellation option. Option C, the early cancellation option, offers the customer to pay for the completed. Again, there is no difference between B and C. Option D is correct option. So you're paying for the completed work, and you're paying an additional cancellation fee for the remainder of the work which is in progress or which is not completed to compensate the vendor. Let's read the explanation. All right, I hope it is self-explanatory. In case you have a comment, you can make. Next question. All right, so the reason behind low score today is Amandeep, because everyone is following her today. Okay. Rafi, why option B?
So graduated time and materials approach. So it's a time material approach, means if we spend more time, we pay more. So if we spend more time, well, so kind of went with the elimination method. And option B, name of the customer's project exposure. like this allows for new ideas, because if we spend more time, we bring in new ideas, then we're gonna pay more. But if we don't spend more time and don't bring ideas, then we don't pay more. Don't know if it makes sense, but yeah.
Okay, so graduated fixed price has nothing to do with new ideas and innovation. So option B is simply eliminated, right? The concept that you have is, what's the idea of graduated fixed price? Like if you complete on time, you will be paid the standard rate. If you delay this, rate would be reduced. If you complete it early, rate would be increased. So it's time, time, and time. Okay. So to encourage the supplier to deliver the project on time and within budget, that's the idea of graduated price adjustment, a graduated price contract. All other options are incorrect. So to limit the customer's budget exposures, no. To provide a shared financial risk approach, that's not the primary purpose. To ensure that the quality has nothing to do with that. Let's read the explanation and then we'll move to last question. All right, I hope it is self-explanatory. Let's move to the last question. So I can see B, C, D. Anyone with option A? Okay, why option D? Shankar?
Yes, because this bug was reported from the customer end, so we need to know more in detail about it, and also a meeting with senior management to discuss the implications, like how we can take decisions uh, for the next step. Because we cannot just go ahead and it's in the final stage, and we cannot go ahead and do changes without consulting the customer and the senior management. So I believe that will be a wise approach.
All right. So first of all, if you see, it says the customer formally reports a significant bug in the product. The customer has already reported. Now it's our job to analyze. Customer has done his job, right? Number one. And number two, without analyzing, without doing anything, there is no point of discussing or having a meeting with senior management. So first we need to, analyze it. First we need to understand it. Only then we can do that. So postpone the release date. We cannot do that without analysis. continue with the planned release date and schedule a patch update to fix this. What is patch update? That it means release the product and do it later. That is also incorrect. So prioritize bug fixing as it is formally reported by customer and focus on communications. Be transparent, communicate with the stakeholders. Tell them the real story, whatever the analysis or results are. So option B is correct. All other options are incorrect. Let's read the explanation. All right, I hope it is clear. If you have any comment or any question, you can ask. So I understand questions were slightly difficult, but every question is conceptual, right? It provides a kind of real life concept that you use in your day-to-day routine work. If you're not able to understand this, spend some time again, review these questions again, go through the content, and this would really help you, not in terms of exam only, but in your real life, wherever you're working, if you are following Agile or Scrum. All right, so anyone who got 10 out of 10? 9?
Ammar, we got 3 new concept in this question session. That is basically graduated, release, Scrumban, and other things. So, like the overall scope is 7 only instead of 10.
But we discussed graduated fixed price contract in the course. Scrumban is new. Yes, you're right. But
I'm just telling.
You're right. But the Scrumban question is, the answer lies within the question. But you're right. Yes. There are some new ideas as well. You're right. Yep. So anyone who got 9 out of 10? 8, 7, 6. Okay, I should start from 1, I think. I think that's the right approach. 5.
3.5.
4. 3. 2.
3.5.
And 1. 0. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. See you on Wednesday, same time, with 10 more questions. Take good care of yourself and best of luck for your studies.
Thank you.
Ammar. It's a good approach, actually.
Thank you, Ammar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking your
Thank you,
time.
Ammar.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Good evening.